Hello there, this is Tailz from Studio Wildfire, and today I'm going to show you how to use Gimp and the new isometric map tiles that I've been working on, especially the sci-fi map tiles, which is a brand new pack. I haven't even made a page for it on the website yet. So let's have a look. The first thing to understand is that the isometric map tiles that I've created, they use a width and height which is 710 by 354 pixels for the grid square. Now, when you're working in Gimp, you need to actually halve these values for the background. What's it called? The background grid. So you get into Edit Preferences. Wait for it to come up. There it is. Okay, then you go down to Default Grid. This is where you set your horizontal to be 355, vertical 177. With that set, we're all good to go. So that way everything will snap to the grid as we're making our map. So we just click OK. Now I'm just going to create just an A4. So I'm going to go New, File New. I'm going to use a template. So I'm just going to select A4. Leave it 300 dpi. Click on Advanced Options. Actually, I'm going to click this little button here that'll make it a landscape page orientation. Pretty much leave everything it is. Make certain it's on RGB color instead of grey. Sometimes it'll come up as grey. And unclick Color Manage this image. Because otherwise, if you leave that clicked, every time you drag in a graphic or an art asset, it'll ask you whether you want to manage its color. We don't want to do that. Then we click OK. And here is our page. Now we can't see our grid. So we go up to View, Show Grid. And there's our little grid. Now, we want to be able to have the art assets snap to this grid. So we come and go View, Snap to Grid. There we go. That is the main thing we need to do. We just have the move tool selected, and then we have a little panel with our assets, and we can start dragging them in. So let's start with the floor. Now I'm just going to make a little sample room here. So let's grab something interesting. So this is the floor itself. So where's a corner? This is what I'm looking for. So just drag and drop. There it is. Now you'll notice that the graphic itself is actually quite larger than the actual artwork piece. This is so that it'll snap correctly into place. And you'll notice that it should be snapping onto those corner little crosshairs. Depending, I've got my grid showing as these little crosshairs, because I find that I can see the grid, but it's not taking up so much space, or it's not, if instead of having just lines everywhere, this is a little cleaner. Now the reason why we set the grid to be half what it actually is so that it snaps a little bit more cleanly. If you had actually set this to be the full grid size, it would actually you wouldn't be able to place a piece there and then place the next piece, which will be this one. You would find it difficult to have that snap into place. It would sort of be there going, oh, I can't, there's nothing to snap to, whereas down here it would snap into place, because that would be where the next grid is. So halving it means it snaps into place a lot easier. So let us just put in a floor. So I'll go that piece that side, and then I need the same piece over here. There we go. And then, now you'll also notice that with building with the isometric map tiles, you need to be careful which pieces go above which pieces. So the layer ordering gets to be very complex at times, because you'll see if I pick this one up and move it over the top of this, it's actually hiding what's below it. And we don't want it to do that. We want it to just snap into place, hide the edge of these tiles, and that looks correct. So layer order can be quite important. Actually, this is a good point to make a folder. I'm going to call it floor. And that is where we will put all of our floor elements. So we chuck that one in there, that one in there, that one in there. So it's actually a good idea to work in the folder first rather than move stuff in when you're doing isometric map tiles. If you're just using my normal map tiles, it doesn't matter. It's just the isometric stuff is very pedantic about what's over the top of what. And you'll see when I come to place the walls. So let's just put that there. Scroll up a little bit. Grab another tile. So we want to have... So I'm just going to make a little, a little 3x3 room. This is just a demonstration. So let's put something in the middle. Let's grab this tile. There we go. Plonk him in the middle. Now we want to have the outside edge. So we want to come back up to where I had these pieces. I want to find the corner pieces, which are these ones. Here we go. So put that one there. Now I need the other side. It's that one. There we go. Now I need these pieces, which are... Here we go. So I'll need this one. And this one. And go back down and grab this one. Yep, there we go. So that's our floor. So let's collapse that folder. Now create another folder. We'll call it, put it outside there and call it walls. And the birds are going Burko. Okay, so let's go back up to our wall panels and scroll down a little bit. Okay, we want our corners. Here we go. So let's grab an interesting looking one. How about this one with the pipe sticking out? And just move him into position. There we go, he snaps into position. That way we want just a wall beside it. So come back out. Now you'll notice there's lots of folders at the top here called background walls, fade, out, left. They're so that you can come along and let's just say this room is, it's overlapping or over the top of another room. You can come along and, with this one that I've just put in, it fades out. That's how they work. That's how those folders work. I mean, those faded tiles work. But there's nothing going to be in the background here, so we can just use full walls. And it's just a bit of experimentation. Go with what works. So let's grab, I'll put a door. There we go. So there's a door there. Now on the other side, we'll just put a bit of normal wall. Actually, let's have a bit of wall with lots of pipes. Yep, snaps into place. Now we want the wall corner, but we don't want it coming around here, so we want faded out bits. So let's go back up the top, look for a folder called corners, because the standard corners are faded. So we'll grab this one, put him there, and we'll grab this one, put that one over here. There we go. So let me just zoom out a little, and there we go. There we have a simple, whoops, zoom back in. We now have a simple little room, and as you can see, so this is taking up most of an A4 piece of paper. So if you printed this out, you're going to get a high enough resolution that you can actually put models on top of this if you put it down on the top of a table. If you use this in a virtual tabletop, definitely save it out as a compressed WEBP. That way it's not a huge image, because this will be because this has got lots of layers, it'll be a huge image. You just want like a flattened JPEG, or WebP gives you the best compression. But that is how you create maps with isometric map tiles in Gimp. And it looks pretty good if you ask me. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a little bit and enjoyed what you saw. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz, and catch you next time. Thank you.